Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 7 of the Nordic Championship 2019 summer season, brought to you live from the Monster Energy DreamHack studio. As we've said, we now reach round 7 and playoffs is steadily approaching. And joining me on the cast desk today is Prime Caster Specimen Troubling. And if you haven't seen the standings yet, then boy, does she have a treat for you.
Oh, welcome from me as well. Good evening. And oh my God, as we can see on the screen right now, it comes as no surprise. Ventus, TFT, Falcon, all three of them have established their dominance in the tournament so far, and they're claiming top 3. And all three of them are sitting on 5-1. Every game counts, every win counts, every loss counts, because in case of a 3-way tie, it's not going to be just how many best of threes overall they've won, but it's also going to come into play how they've won these best of threes. Was it 2-1 or was it a 2-0? Now, talking about 3-way ties and all, the next 3 games, for Nordic, Copenhagen Flames, MJ, and Neon are going to be very crucial if they want, of course, secure a place for the playoffs, with Neon and MJ having a very hard task tonight because they're going to be playing versus top seed teams. Now, at the very bottom of the standings, we find Celestial Gaming with no wins yet, which means there is not much chance of them to qualify for the playoffs, together with, Lance Minot, one of the Icelandic teams, F8, who also says the same fate, and they can't actually secure a playoff spot. Now, there is still a chance for you, Lance Minot. One Icelandic team, Dusty, could potentially be making it into playoffs through a tie if they win the 3 remaining games that we still have in our hands. And one of the other teams don't win all of them that are in the standings right above them. Now, talking about losing, there is one team that definitely does not want to lose a single game today, and that team is Ventus. So let's have a look at the schedule for tonight.
Yeah, still hope for Dusty, keeping my eyes on them. Their strength of schedule is a little bit interesting also, but yes, Ventus, you mentioned Ventus. They will be going up against Celestial Gaming on the day. Obviously, Celestial Gaming at last place there, and Ventus want to secure the top 2 positioning, right? And since they have an 11-5 game score, Ventus want to truly push their way so they don't end up third behind the Final Tribe and Falcon, who are 10-3 and 11-3 respectively. So that will be the first game of tonight, and after that we'll be going with MJ versus Falcon. MJ have everything to win and everything to lose, sitting there in the middle of the standing, and Falcon obviously want to achieve the same thing as Ventus Esports. Now, for the first match of the day, Celestial versus Ventus, let's take a short little look at Celestial here. And to put it mildly, they've been struggling. Since their 1-2 loss to Copenhagen Flames, they haven't picked up a single game win. They're still 0-6, and there's this tendency to fall behind off of both individual laning as well as in jungle pressure. And while that's an unfortunate situation to find yourself in, there are some answers. Celestial's bot lane has been looking pretty stable even while losing. I'd like to see the jungler have some more proactiveness towards perhaps the bot side to bring them more resources rather than just having them hold their own. And speaking of the jungle role, they're quite interesting. Celestial actually kind of stands out when we take a look at statistics among all junglers. Both Dipsy and Darkrek, obviously Dipsy stepping in as the temporary sub, they rock the first and third position respectively in kill participation percentage, both being above 75%. So the teams, they do play around their junglers, but more in a responsive kind of passive kind of way, where they do try to find these picks to try to get them back in the game, but there's no clear game plan on how to translate that. So at the same time, the losses aren't completely due to gameplay, since they have had to forfeit the last 2 matches due to conflicting live schedules. Because of this, the roster is a little bit different from what we were used to, even bringing in their manager to play tonight. I believe in the support role, so that's going to be interesting. On the other side, we do have a Ventus Trouble. What do you have to say about them?
We talked a little bit about how Ventus is sharing right now the first spot with Falcon and TFT. They're also the defending champions of the Nordic Championship 2019 Spring, and also the Danish champions. So coming into this game, I don't really see how they're going to struggle much against Celestial Gaming, considering that their opponents for the first place have already 2-0'd Celestial in a pretty easy manner. Now, saying that, there are some focal points about the team, and I want to mainly focus onto the top side because Reese has been the one of the top players in the team for me, where if he's performing, it's amazing. And if he's not, it's kind of like the whole momentum and tempo of the team kind of falls down, even when Godbro, does amazing onto the mid lane. And I want to focus a little bit on the game versus Falcon, where Reese picks that Karma top lane, falls behind, and still goes towards that Ludens Echo Morello Nomicon route, where in the end it just wasn't what the team needed, and all the momentum kind of fell low. Now, saying that, of course, you've got Markun and Godbro in the equation, so the whole trio up top lane is amazing. They're playing very aggressive. They're playing with each other through the jungle and through aggressive picks. They've got versatility as in what they pick. We've mentioned the Cho'Gath top lane with Glacial Augment and stuff. Mid lane, super versatility from Godbro, from Corkis, to AD Twisted Fates, to Assassins, to a Tristana mid lane that we even saw versus Falcon in the previous Versa 3. So there's a lot of experimenting from Ventus, which has actually resulted in a lot of wins for them, but a lot of hiccups as well. I'm going to focus specifically on the game versus Falcon, where we saw the Tristana. I mean, it wasn't working. It wasn't enough. Yes, it did well in the mid lane, but it just didn't end up translating into a victory for them. And something that we criticized in that specific Versa 3 versus Falcon was Reyes' performance. It wasn't top notch. It wasn't where it should have been. We saw a lot of mistakes, a lot of hiccups, a lot of missteps that, it could potentially be a way through to victory for Celestial Gaming, because we've mentioned before, a team that has nothing to lose, you should be afraid of. Now, they're playing with a sub, which means they can practice whatever they want. They can play however they want in the entire game. And it could be a phase that none of the other teams have actually seen yet from CG. So it could potentially, be dangerous. Now, saying that, Cho'Gath for Reese, absolutely not going to happen this game. And double assassin ban for mid lane, putting on the spot Zandia.
They know exactly what they want to target. Obviously, Celestial's mid laner Zandia has been struggling quite a lot. He's rocking one of the lowest KDAs of, I think he has the lowest KDA of all mid laners in the league. But at the same time, he's rocking some of the highest CS per minute. So targeting him seems to be a pretty clear way to do it. And we talked a little bit about Ventus and what face they're going to bring out, right? Because they have a tendency to mess around a little bit, not take it too seriously, and then turn on in the later stages. But now, when every game matters, that you really have to go hard. And we also remember playing on patch 9.15 with Urgot and Wits End disabled for now, just so you guys know that. And what do we have to expect off of this patch? Trouble, now that Sivir is locked in and Draven's being hovered, although that seems a little bit unlikely. But what do you think about patch 9.15?
I mean, there's a lot of power buffs, so not necessarily something that will make a champion pop off. For example, yes, they buffed a little bit, the damage onto Galio, but please, unless the flash taunt comes back for Galio, I don't find Galio a competitive pick in no way.
I'm so sad about that, the removal of flash taunt.
You talking about Ventus experimenting and not taking things too seriously, and maybe wanting to try some stuff. They're locking in the Draven first pick, no fear, with so much CC available still in the game, in the jungle, in the support role, even in the mid lane. Literally, CG could go full CC team right now and destroy the Draven. And with the Draven going in the hands of Rye, who actually did not have the cleanest game in the previous best of 3 we saw him in, it could potentially be an opening for them to abuse that lane and try to come out victorious from that.
It's possible, quite indeed. When you early lock in a pick like Draven, you become so susceptible to these answers that are coming in. But unfortunately for Celestial, they already locked in that Sivir, and they're going for a Janna lane, a Janna Sivir lane against Draven. I feel like you're just giving Raya all of the room possible in the world here. Surely this is not the freedom that you want to allow Raya here.
It is so sad because Janna is such a passive support, and you can't. It's kind of like a double-edged sword what CG are doing right now, because Severe wants to definitely pressure the lane. Draven is not really good at CS and underneath his tower. He doesn't have the tools, he doesn't have the spells to do that. Of course, when Fiddle helps as well, it could be better, but he doesn't really have the tool to be able to be a good CSer underneath the tower. And usually CV wants to pressure in the lane, so you get priority, so your jungler, can move into the enemy jungle or get Scuttle Crab in the bot side and all that stuff. Now, picking the Janna means that you're gonna be susceptible to ganks if you push a lane towards Nami, Draven, and they've got a Jarvan. It's not the easiest task to defend yourself and the Severe if you're playing the Janna against the team composition, because even if you stop the flag and drag, there's still going to be a Draven with perma slow onto his axis trying to follow through. So it is a little bit confusing how they're going for the extra push lane, but they also are like, oh, we're kind of scared of the Draven as well. But then Draven does really well against Janna, but he doesn't do really well against push lanes. So it's kind of a mix and match here coming from Celestial Gaming's bot lane. I want to see the jungler as well to complete, my viewers and what they want to go for, because so far it just looks like siege, but you don't really have any front line to protect it.
You don't, but you also have to remember here, right, that Celestial Gaming, they're playing with a sort of damage control kind of mindset. What? Oh my days. Ventus, I have to say, Trouble, this is a team of absolute showmen. They want to put on a show. They want you guys to be entertained, rocking that Aurelion Soul, hopefully in the mid lane, because if it's in a different lane, I don't even know what they're on about. But I'll get to the Aurelion Soul in a bit. I just want to say about Celestial, remember, they're playing with a substitute support. So there is a little bit of a damage control kind of mentality coming in, that, hey, you just want to have the bot lane survive, perhaps. So picking Sivir is very neutral. Picking Janna is indeed very neutral. That's Xin Zhao pick also. So not necessarily the most amount of CC here or lockdown for the Draven. Quite easy to peel away. But Trouble, an Aurelion Soul in the Nordic Championship. Oh my days. Perfect. I'm excited.
That's perfect. It goes to the hands of God, bro. Hopefully, in the mid lane. I don't think we're going to see any shenanigans from that. And it's exactly what we talked about. You get that bot lane pushing from CG without protection, with a very squishy Janna and SCV who, let's face it, she's immobile. She doesn't have any dash, doesn't have any jumps, doesn't have anything, just a flash. So getting the Jarvan down the bot lane, getting the Aurelion Soul down the bot lane, and before that Malzahar gets locked in, I'm just going to assume that the Aurelion Soul is in the mid lane, which makes it so much more easier for Ventus to play towards their bot side. Feed that Draven, give him some of that cash money from his passive. And earlier today, we talked about the possibility of a Malphite being picked, because now he has more wave clear and he has more slow, which means he could potentially harass really hard the cannon. And with the addition of Markoon, we've noticed before that he's playing towards that top side. He likes to put Riz ahead and Godbro at the same time. I'm seeing a great draft right here from Ventus.
Yeah, Ventus draft is rock solid indeed, but we have to keep our eyes on how much Restringing on Malphite is going to struggle against a ranged sort of annoyance that is the cannon up in the top side. Going either AP or
that a Draven mid lane
build. Yeah, it seems like it. This is what I mean, right? This is exactly what I mean when I said, hopefully it's an Aurelion Soul mid, but I mean, if they want to spice it up, then perhaps. However, there is a little bit of an issue, it seems. Perhaps a mispick or something like this. I mean, it has to be an Aurelion Soul mid in that case.
I mean, it could potentially work to have your Draven in the mid lane. Okay, we had a problem there, a PC crash, and they couldn't swap. Okay, so it is Aurelion Soul in the mid lane. I mean, it would make the utmost sense to have the Aurelion Soul in the mid lane, because if you're having the bot lane, he's just stuck there pushing a wave. It doesn't make sense with the Nami, first of all, and then you can't really roam anywhere else because it's too predictable where you're going to go. Like, you don't have anywhere to move bot lane because you're all the way down bot. So where are you going to roam to? You're going to roam up the river, whilst if you lose sight of Aurelion Soul, he could be going top to Riz with that Malphite, or he could also be going bot lane. So I'm loving what Ventus are doing here. I mean, I know Celestial Gaming, they're playing with, a feeling support and everything, but that Janna just destroys everything in my eyes. You could go for something more defensive. You could go for a Nautilus. You could go for a Brom. And Nautilus here would have been the cherry on the cake because you've got the aggressive jungler in the sides of Xin and then you've got a very squishy Nami together with a Draven. You can't really defend that versus a Nautilus ult. So we said that potentially the little opening they could find was Rhea and his hiccups, throughout the previous best of 3 versus Falcon and try, to abuse that to come out on top. But I felt like they've put themselves in a much deeper hole than they were to begin with, because this composition that Ventus is running right now screams to me, feed Rhea.
Yeah, Draven who gets fed is a very scary thing, right? Indeed, the feed Rhea kind of mindset here with that Aurelion Soul, with the full utility, full CC Malphite coming in from the top side, who, as you said, has received some buffs also. Slows for a little bit extra and has a little bit extra wave clear there in the top side. But honestly, if Rhea runs away with this one, he's going to run away with the game purely because of the champion, right? But we have seen some missteps from this player in the past, as you mentioned in the intro. Most noticeably, the Tristana, the 1-for-1s, the 1-for-2s, and the
tower dives,
tower shots. Yeah, the affinity for towers. For some reason, this man is just attracted by them.
And he carried on through the mid lane.
He did. Oh yeah, with Godbro running the same thing.
Yeah,
it's true. So if they want to pilot this composition where all focus is on this Draven, then he's got to sharpen it up a little bit and play a little bit more cleanly there also. But there is the possibility, Trouble, to play around this Aurelion Soul, because an Aurelion Soul in the later stages of the game straight up annihilates everyone. And who's gonna get onto him? Is it gonna be Darkrek on that jungle Xin Zhao, or what are they gonna do, right? So there's not really much apart from a flanking cannon or this Azir coming in with some solid soldier placements here. Because
I mean, the problem here
honestly,
is,
yeah,
you cannot play AD cannon versus that composition, because
it's true.
If you take in consideration the ultimates, AP cannon, you cannot play AP cannon, because if you take in consideration what the ultimate of Xin Zhao and Janna does, it's essentially the same thing. You want to be splitting your enemies. And if you're going to play AP cannon, you want to be grouping your enemies. So by Kulberg going cannon top lane, I really hope it's not AP, because with the Janna and the Xin Zhao wants to dive in, throw away anyone who's not of his interest so he can't get damaged as well, and kind of try to one-shot whoever is in there, probably together with a little bit of assistance from Azia and Sevilla as well. And then whoever jumps onto the Sevilla, it's going to be the Janna ult that splits them. Now, that is 2 splitting ults into one fight. If that cannon is AP, he's not really going to get any grouping from the enemy team to try and get as much damage as possible, and of course CC and lockdown onto them. So it gets me scratching my head a little bit, because 3 out of 5 ultimates from this team is splitting people up. I forgot completely the Azir ultimate as well.
Perhaps not too much synergy in the ultimates there, but they could still utilize the cannon in a different kind of way, right? They might just want to stick Kulberg into a side lane, run that AD build, and just bash on turrets. Then again, if you choose to do that, then you're going to have obviously the setup with Marcoon and Distrengen, this duo that's just going to straight up jump on you, and Godbro, once again with the semi-global champion, will be able to appear on top of you at the same time. So a lot of question marks around this cannon pick. I totally agree with you, Trouble. So if you're Celestial Gaming, what are your win conditions?
Oh man, it pains my heart. It is going to be a klepto cannon top lane, which makes me think you want to go for that early advantage through getting more gold, trying to split push a lane. I really don't want to see this cannon turn to be AP. I thought they had so much to prove here because they're playing much more freely. They have absolutely nothing to lose. It's their game to actually win. It's Ventus' game to lose. So if you can even grab one game off of them, that is a huge success, for the roster going forward, showing us what they can do in the future. But seeing them go in such weird routes, like kleptomancy shows to me Kennen wants to go late game. He wants to have more money into his pocket. He wants to actually, go big into the team fights. That brings a ding 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 bell into my head that this Kennen will be going AP Kennen. 3 splitting ultimates and an AP Kennen. Oh boy. I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard to find a win condition, but it's just not happening here because you've got your bot lane pushing with the Severe. This is what you want to do. Isolate that Draven underneath his tower. He can't farm very well. Fine, great. Aurelion Sol will not have any sort of head-to-head with Zandia's Azia in the mid lane because Godbro can clear the wave without having any shenanigans with any Sun soldiers. He can stay away and just farm with the little orb around him and clear the wave and then go straight down bot lane where Severe initially wants to be pressuring. So everything roams bot lane. Because Celestial Game is bot lane wants to be pressuring, so you're going to be in a position you don't want to be in, very exposed, very undefended, and if Dakrek is not there to defend the roam from the Aurelians, although potentially Markoon as well, this could be a great start for Rhea if he cashes in on all these.
It could, and I want to talk a little bit more about Aurelion Sol and his wave clear and how he functions, as you were sort of dipping into just a little bit. So with the stars, with the expansion, or even if you choose not to expand, obviously, then you're going to be at a set distance from the minion wave, so there is some room to play around Godbro's positioning, since you have to position in a very certain way to wave clear. Yeah, he's got pretty much infinite wave clear. Mana is obviously an issue in the early game, but he can get back to lane fairly easily. But there is room for Zandia and Dakrek to abuse Godbro's positioning, and this also translates later on into the game. Also, he can't stay away at a massive distance, so there are ways to reach this champion later on, as well as in the early game. Look, Zandia can just utilize his Sand Soldiers, place them at the distance from the minion wave that Godbro chooses to be. And look, he's doing this pretty perfectly at the moment and abusing the lane quite hard. So I think there are answers in Zandia, in the scaling that him and Lil Ambivert provide, and as well as these champions, or how these champions interact with each other. So that's at least that's where I'm looking. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, big chunk onto Fiddler.
I mean, mid lane could be a lane you might want to abuse, but on the other hand, his Godbro does not even care at all. He will play as aggressive as he wants to, and his primary target is not really the minion wave. It's just abusing Zandia and getting really non-so-favorable trades so far, and the bot lane is not either. So here comes the question that we were talking about a little bit earlier. It's like, is Ventus gonna come in playing seriously and really wanting to go into a quick 2-0 clean sweep? Or are they gonna be trying things out, see if they're working, versus a team that they don't feel like it's competent enough against them? And this could turn and bite them into their lower back, because we talk about every single game counting, and Fiddle here has to flash.
Yeah, his flash is forced after a Morian down in the bot side brings that Zephyr Ignite damage into play.
Ooh, Dakrek.
Yeah, Dakrek coming in. Wait, Mira on the bot side. Dakrek, he flashes in, gets that first blood. Perfectly executed there off of the flash removal early on. Markoon is here, however, and remember, Raya, yes, this is an early game Draven, but he does a lot of damage. If Markoon gets counter-engaged on, surely they can finish him off here. There it is. It's a 2-for-1 actually in favor of Celestial Gaming down on the bot side, and crucially, Draven doesn't get any of the kills.
I mean, that is such an underestimation of what the bot lane of Celestial Gaming can do. We need to remind people here that every time you knock someone up or you slow, that cooldown on the Janna shield gets drastically lower and lower. So you could be popping 3 shields into 2.5 rotations, basically, onto anyone you want in your team. Underestimation here by Ventus. They even opted to go into this 2v3. They felt like they had enough damage and survivability between Markoon and Rhea to get out of there, but Rhea had previously used his heal to try and get away of a 3v1 sticky situation, so Marco now wants to take his chances versus Zandia, might be forcing a flash.
Yeah, they're looking mid lane. 3 versus 1, but Zandia is keeping his distance here with the minion wave, obviously pushing into him slightly. Instead, Marcoon's going to go for that cheeky little invade with the assistance of Fiddle there. Gobro is getting engaged on by Zandia here. Now, obviously, the 2 people from before are still around Marcoon's right there. Bubble does not land, and Dakrik is getting in the wings as well. Zandia gets out, but that was a risky move.
That was a very risky move, especially because if you saw, Godbro was not using his expanded orb to try and clear the wave. So he was trying to bait Zandia into thinking that he's not using it, so he's just going to farm with the low range one and then get poked by Zandia, which would force then Marcoon and Fiddle to actually get engaged onto Zandia in the middle and potentially, cause the summoner or even grab a kill. But Zandia played this very carefully and very cleverly until the point where he kind of forces himself onto Godbro in the mid lane. All in all, though, it ended up good for him. He still has a wave underneath his tower. He's ahead in CS, and to be honest with you, Celestial Gaming are now sitting 1k ahead 5 minutes into the game. They're doing great. They have all of their lanes pretty much winning, even the jungle is winning at this point, ahead in CS and everything. You've got that kill onto the Zinzao, you've got that kill onto your Hyper ADC in the bot lane, so all in all, everything is looking great. The only thing that I can't see looking great is how the cannon is going to interact with all these splitting ultimates around the rest of the team. So
that's the big question mark, isn't it?
I'd just like to see an interaction where everyone is together, how the cannon will go around. That's 4 members of Ventus in the bot lane.
Yeah, there we go. Fiddle lands the bubble crucially onto Dakrek, tries to snipe him away with the lance. Flash forwards off of Morian as Gobro also arrives, as you said, that 4th member coming in. So Ventus focusing the bot lane even further, choosing to send 4 people and get that kill onto Raya. He cashes in a little bit. I didn't quite catch how much gold it was, but he's making bank at least. So nice decision making there from them.
Ooh, like you said, that bubble was so crucial because if it hadn't landed, that was most likely Dakar getting yet another kill onto Fiddle, and it would end up being a 1-on-1. Now, it ended up being a 1-for-0 in favor this time of Ventus. So that's great stuff for them to read it. But then again, you can meet 4 members down there, and look at this. Now, Godbro has been spotted roaming towards the top side, and Dakar is just waiting for him in the bush.
Straight up waiting for him in the bush. He gets the flash over across the wall, though. There is that Aurelion Soul ultimate coming in. The Voice of Light disengages off of Dakrek, but that's a commitment and a half. They forced both summoners on the ultimate. Meanwhile, on the bot side, flash forward by Rhea just to clean the distance before they even make it. And that's a double kill for Raya in the bot side. Ventus bot lane snowballing out of control. And as we said, it was the focus of the game. Perfect executed by Ventus.
Double squishy, double kill, baby. No problem. You see how if there's no Dakrak in the bot lane, Rhea can just run them down. He doesn't need anything. All he needs to do is possibly dodge the tornado, and with the speed and slow that the E from Nami provides him with is all this champion needs to just keep on going forward, grabbing axe after axe after axe, putting down the pain. You saw how easily that Janna melted after the tornado does not hit. So it's just easy work. The second they see Dakrek being in the mid lane and trying to get a kill onto Godbro, they're like, okay, go button. He's not here. Azir is pinned into the mid lane. We can go. And boy, could they go. Another double kill onto the Draven, 300 gold bounty onto his head. And I'm pretty sure that the second he goes back into base, he's going to have that Bloodthirster ready to roll 8 minutes into the game.
It's kind of crazy. Meanwhile, in the river, Dakrek and Marcoon are rolling it out. Both mid laners coming in. Knock lands onto Marcoon. There is that Cataclysm, but Zandia's there as well. It's flashed away by Marcoon, however. Meanwhile, Zandia actually commits, but it's committing into 4 members. Crucially, another double kill for Raya. Clutchly coming in here. He's 0-1, and he's snowballing out of control here. 2,000 gold up. 9 minutes into the game to his ADC counterpart. Absolute insanity.
Oof. 3 kills were not enough for that Bloodthirster. Well, guess what? 5 are by him. He is going to have a party from now on. Yes, we said that Rhea had some questionable plays, but it felt like from the draft phase, CG were just trying to feed themselves into Ria's mouth pretty much. Getting that squishy down the bot lane, I mean, it's just an easy peasy way. Oh, Kulberg finds himself a kill.
Yeah, restraining goes in with the unstoppable force. Voice of Light comes in just to slow him. God, bro, chasing it down, but obviously Zandia's gonna be there eventually. They're pinging him MIA and saying, hey, well, I guess we're just gonna give up on this one, but that's a 2-man commitment. They don't even force the flash. That's just straight up time wasted, and Zandia allows himself to get that little push going. But you know what? When you're against an Aurelian Soul, he's just gonna be everywhere.
Okay.
Just gotta accept it, you know? He's just fine with that.
It's kind of the AD version of a Talon. You kind of look away and then a second later, oh wow, there's another champion in my lane who didn't ping SS. Oh, they called Dakar again.
Yeah, Dakar in the river once again jumps onto Fiddle, but it's a 3 versus 1, and Celestial's tendencies are coming into play here, and Ventus are just capitalizing with a repeated multi-man advantage, and it's looking grim. Meanwhile, however, in the mid side, Zandia gets stunned up while he assaults Gobro with Sand Soldier auto attacks, but I don't think he can finish him off here.
The cannon!
Obviously with that red buff. Oh no, the cannon, she says. Who missed it?
Oh, no.
I missed that one.
It was God, bro. It was God, bro. That little orb right there was like a millisecond away from hitting it before it hit the tower. And look at the pressure. That is a bloodthirster BF Sword Draven 10 minutes in, and you've got a Severe with boots completed. And that Janna is a leaf in the wind. She will literally... I'm trying to think of how many shots it will take Draven to kill the Janna. It would probably be 2 or maybe 1.5. He's an absolute beast right now. You can take him from lane to lane to lane, and there will be no contest from anyone from CT. You will have to commit way too many members to try and get that Draven down to stop the push, and that means instant cross-map play from VT if somehow Ventus decide to leave Rhea on a side lane alone with the Nami, which, to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of horror stories and in my solo queue journey where the Draven kind of turns around and 2v4s. If he has a support such as like Nami, which can provide healing, CC, speed, slow, pretty much everything. So, it just keeps getting more and more grim this time for CG. They have absolutely no control with vision. They don't know where Marcoon is. They're gonna see him now, and you kind of just have to bunch up all your members wherever Rhea is going because you're scared they're actually gonna collapse on you. So you need to be ready for that counter attack.
Scared that they're gonna collapse? Well, they should be, because watch the movements of Ventus. Ambivert, wow, almost gets straight up killed off. The Whirling Death does go straight over him, I believe, but the stopwatch is enough, and this poor Boots Sivir doesn't have much to say about this 3-man siege that's going on. Yeah, Kuba can wave clear a little bit, but man, look at these auto attacks coming in. Goblin, meanwhile, he gets the stun. Beautiful unstoppable force there by Ristring, and honestly, Trouble, watch Ristringen's build.
Oh my god.
He's going for Lost Chapter into Amptome. This is an AP Malphite in game 1. In the crucial game, by the way. Meanwhile, in the jungle, the action just straight up doesn't stop. Dakaric is somehow versus Marcoon again, despite knowing their movements on where they've been. Celestial, they're falling apart at the seams.
I think it's just kind of getting really chaotic right now where they don't know how to stop Ventus. You know, you can't find Rhea, so you're trying to get, you know, some sort of advantage in another lane. Then Godbro dives the tower. You're like, what is he crazy? Why is he diving the tower? Rhea again is coming right behind Tier 1 tower in the mid lane, gets the ulti on Zandia, kills them as well. So there's literally no hope in this game because the draft just feels so prepared from Ventus. Like, yes, they're doing these crazy shenanigans we talked about. Like, they're gonna experiment, they're gonna play the crazy stuff, you know, the Draven bot lane with the Nami, you know, full solo queue, power bot lane, and then you get Godbro onto the Aurelian Soul, roaming from lane to lane to lane. First time we've seen a Malphite as well. With the new and improved... Yeah, with the new improved AP kit, I mean, is that a surprise for you? He's literally playing Karma with Luden Seko and Morello Nomicon, so I wasn't surprised he was going with the AP route. But yeah, everything that CG tried to reply with in the draft, it just didn't seem cohesive enough. And this is where we see where a team can fall through the seams, because it doesn't matter if you've got the individual play, everything has to fall into place. The draft, the team play, the macro, individual skill, of course, which obviously these players do have at this stage for them to be here. So I feel like they're missing a lot of that macro play and cohesion on the draft as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a question mark in the draft as well. As you said, there's that cannon interaction. Obviously, there's the Majana in the bot side that you had some questions around. But they are at least being a little bit proactive now, sieging that Mountain Dragon. Do secure that one for themselves, and they will disperse and send Zanya back to defend against multiple Ventus members. And they've been sieging towers non-stop. Just look at this. They're moving from tower to tower to tower, utilizing the super fed Draven. There's a flash unstoppable force. Tidal wave comes in, but God, bro, who needs the tidal wave? You can just blow them out of the water with your stars, and that's a 3-for-0 within 2 seconds for Ventus. Sieging now the mid-inner turret. They seem seemingly unstoppable.
So you take the Janna and you take the Zin, trying to split the entire Ventus from coming onto you. Dagger was not there. And let me say that Morian died
the flank! Coolberg comes in with a flanking cannon. How will the ultimates synergize with each other? Well, you don't need the other ultimates. Just go in there yourself. However, does get killed off by Rhea.
That was 3 hits. I counted. I had to count.
I mean, hey, it worked out for them this time. They do defend the mid-inhib turret. The house around them is burning, but it's still fine for now. Obviously, Baron, at least, yeah.
I don't think any
at least Baron doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't think any team should be at the mid lane inhibitor tower 15 minutes in. So them managing to defend a tower diving Ventus and still trading a 1-for-1. I don't know how much of a success that is because they're 8,500 ahead 15 minutes into the game. Oh boy, yes, sure, Kuba could get in there because Dagger had already used his ult, Janna was nowhere near to split anyone, so he could actually get a grouped up Ventus, but that's just a little proto-belt cannon. What's he gonna do against the Bloodthirster Infinity Edge and soon to be rapid fire cannon Draven in the hands of Rhea?
There's honestly not much. As we said, there wasn't really much lockdown onto him either. Like, yeah, you can try to outrange
lockdown in general,
push, right?
In this team.
But yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously there comes Zandia with the Emperor's Divide. Meanwhile, a fight just breaks out. Dakrek in the middle of 3 people again. But Raya, he just cannot be stopped. Watch Zandia. Look at the healing coming in from the Bloodthirster, by the way. He's just cashing in. Triple kill for Ryan. Now 9-0-3. Coolberg's chilling there saying, hey, by the way, I'm ready with slicing Maelstrom,
I'm
guys.
flanking.
Where'd you go?
Guys?
They're all gone. Mid will fall off. Coolberg's being picked off. I don't think they can end. Surely not, but mid inhib will die off, obviously. Gobro, there is the unstoppable force, and that's a very
wasn't even used in the previous fight.
Yeah.
This is clearly the definition of your top laner saying team, question mark, and everyone is literally dead while you're trying to make your way around. You're like, don't die, I'm flanking, I got a good way, I'm flanking. And before you knew it, the whole of CG disintegrated into thin air, and you could see how much lifesteal Rhea has. He has double heal from himself, from Godbro, all the heals from Nami, all the shields from Nami. It is insane. You cannot potentially kill this Draven without any lockdown, and there's no lockdown in CG. Godbro though,
I mean, there's the lockdown that we're looking for. It's literally onto Dakrek. They're going to use it to pick up Godbro, but that obviously opens up the boss side of the map, and now the poor little hamster Coolberg is all alone in a very deadly atmosphere. The bot lane inhibitor will be picked off there. The recalls are coming in, but now they just won't get there in time, straight up, and that's double inhib now for Ventus.
So you could see the indecisiveness there that might be going on in the team. Ambivert was in the mid lane, he was pushing a wave, and the second that kill happened in the top lane against Godbro, they didn't. The Severe didn't instantly TP him back to try and go and defend, and then you see the TP getting cancelled, he pushes another wave, and then he goes back. So you can sort of see the indecisiveness on the macro play that we're talking about. Like, the whole team does not seem like they're coherent enough. Maybe there's not like a loud shot calling position that everyone is following through, you know, especially since they're like in a more experimental period where, you know, they've swapped out their support, so they're trying something different for themselves. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It's not necessarily a bad thing to experiment while you have nothing to lose, but we're definitely not seeing any signs of hope either for this team.
looking a little bit rough, if we're going to be honest, and if we're going to look at this bot lane advantage that we got going on. Yeah, just straight up run. Just Emperor's Divide is going to come in. There is that
Never
Q
mind.
from Janna, but I mean, these things just going to go straight up with the unstoppable force, and that's a dead Azir. Now, for the mid side, Cataclysm comes in onto the Ambivert. Look at the burst coming in. The Whirling Death gets spell shielded. Imagine being able to spell shield death itself. But that is going to be the flash away, as well as a recall coming in from Ambivert, and obviously that opens up the final standing inhibitor turret. They're sieging it now. Surely it's going to go down. Triple inhib on the way, and Godbro is just doing his job of zoning. It's textbook play trouble. They're just getting everything right.
We said maybe they're overstepping the boundaries. Oh boy.
Marcoon, he goes for it. There's the flag by Kuhlberg. Gets the stun onto 3. Zonia is used. Marcoon is running that low HP Jarvan now, and he's going to get stunned up. He's very squishy, but oh my days. Look at the damage coming in from the entirety of Ventus, honestly. That could just shoot a
my god!
Malphite. One-shot Zandia. And there is that second Nexus turret going down. I mean, FF is available, but I mean, he's just not going for it. Goes for that fountain, or the fountain drive, but what a stylish play by Ventus. They strike first, and in 20 minutes and 30 seconds, they just annihilate Celestial Gaming.
We debated at the start when Dakra gets the kill, when they get the 2-0 actually in the bot lane. We debate, have Ventus maybe made a mistake? Are they underestimating too much their opponent? We're expecting to see like a 2-0, a very clean 2-0 actually. Well, guess what? There's not a cleaner 2-0 than 3 inhibitors down pre-minute 20 and a 20-minute Nexus falling. So Ventus, with that Luden's Echo, Morello, Nomican, Malphite in the top lane, and a Rhea on an 11-0 kill streak, I'm gonna not take the 1 death into consideration because that was the Fountain killing him. I don't know if it counts. Does the Fountain count killing him?
It's Rhea. He loves these towers, right? So we gotta take them into account. 11-1.
All right, 11-1 then. So again, good game well played for Ventus. I just want to see CG with a more coherent draft. Try to choke individually the members or the entire draft of Ventus, because it just looked so much more coherent and so much more superior to what CG showed us here.
Ventus coming in huge in game number 1. Trouble, do you know how many turret plates they secured with this Fed Draven pre-14 minutes?
Let's hear it.
13. That's 2,080 gold in turret plates alone that they secured by rocking Raya around the map. So getting him snowballed was the win condition as we identified. They played through it, and they closed out the game within 20 minutes and 30 seconds, as we said. Now, we will be heading into a short commercial break, everyone, but when we come back, we will see if this is going to be one of the cleanest 2-0 sweeps of the tournament, or if Celestial Gaming can pull it together and fight adversity and spit Ventus in the face and saying, "You shall not sweep us." We'll be back in a few.